Running our own business isn't easy, and it can be a tough gig for all of us at times, and only other business owners truly understand the challenges that we face. And on ScaleUp Radio, we aim to help make things just that little bit easier by interviewing guests who have been where you are now, regardless of where you are on the scale-up journey, and maybe facing some of the challenges that you are facing. And they offer their thoughts and advice on what has worked well for them, as well as what didn't, of course. And we've also combined many of these lessons into a practical scale-up handbook called the Entrepreneurial Scale-Up System. And there's details of this at the end of the episode. So welcome to ScaleUp Radio. Welcome to another episode of ScaleUp Radio. I'm delighted to be joined today by Lucie Grech, who is the founder and clinical director of Cypress Quay. So Lucie, welcome to ScaleUp Radio.
Hi, great to be on.
Fantastic. So tell us about Cypress Quay. What's that all about?
So Cypress Quay is a advanced beauty clinic. So we do treatments like laser hair removal, chemical peels, just generally things to make people feel good. But it's a little bit more than your average beauty salon. So we don't do nails or waxing or anything like that, just the advanced things. We mainly cater for professional women. And we've been around for 4 years this year on the 1st of November. So it's nearly our birthday.
Brilliant.
We were originally under a different name. We used to be called the Laser Lounge. But as things changed, the business changed, I changed, I brought on staff. We decided to rebrand and we're now called Cypress Quay.
Brilliant. So we'll get into some of those journeys, those stepping stones along your journey. So what's behind the name? What's behind Cypress Quay?
So Cypress, our whole brand is based around botanicals and greenery and like flourishing to your new self. So Cypress is a fir tree, so that's where that bit came from. And then Quay, because we're on Salford Quays, so our clinic is directly on the canal in Salford Quays, so we have a nice waterside location.
Oh, very good. So and can you give us a feel for what stage you got the business at? You obviously got staff, you were saying, you got premises, so what sort of stage are you at in how far have you come in those 4 years?
So we're in a real growth stage at the minute. So in November 22, we relocated into this new premises and we grew from 1 clinic room to now 6 clinic rooms. So we took on this huge project where we refurbished basically a derelict building to be clinic inside. It was a big project, I'm not going to lie, and it's still not finished, but we're nearly there now. So we use 3 of the 6 rooms at the minute and we're just expanding into it. It's a growing industry, really, like it's a real busy area that so many people need to have these treatments done now. It's so popular because of the whole like social media, influencer marketing, things like that. People just really want to look after the self more. So we expanded and I either go hard or go home. So we went crazy and got this massive clinic. So yeah, we're growing at quite a good level, but over the summer we tend to have a bit of a plateau. So now we're going into the winter, it's our busy months and we start really ramping up on the marketing and getting more people in basically.
Very good. And have you purchased those premises then?
No, so unfortunately where we are, it's all landlord owned because it's on the canal, so it's owned by like a big corporate. So we didn't purchase it. I wish we could have done, but no, we've got it on like a long-term 10-year lease. Okay,
very good. So what you mentioned that you're different from many of the sort of beauty salons and focusing on the higher end stuff. So what is the difference? What makes you different from other your competitors, essentially, other people out there doing something?
So I really focus on training. So something that's really is a sore subject in the industry at the moment is qualifications and training within the industry. So there's a big consultation going on with the government at the moment about people being able to do beauty treatments and not being very well trained. So then problems start happening. So I make sure that me and all my staff have got Ofqual qualifications, which is like government recognised. It's a strict training regime to be able to do the treatments. That's something that a lot of other clinics or salons don't do, because you can, unfortunately, just do a one-day course and do a lot of the treatments that we do that can be particularly dangerous, which isn't good. But hopefully the government will nip it in the bud at some point, and it'll do me a favour, I suppose, because it'll get rid of a lot of people. And we also have like a luxury experience. So the clinic is more, it's got like a nice ambience. It's just a nicer place to be. It's not like you're in, you're out, you pay, you go. It's more of like a journey and an experience when you come here. So you're getting more for your money, basically.
Okay. And how does the business model work? How do you charge? How do you make money?
So we do something that's quite different to everyone else. We have like a monthly subscription membership. Okay. So it's something that we've launched in this past year, and it basically makes it a little bit more exclusive for the clients. So they come each month and they pay like a monthly membership fee, and for that they get whatever treatments they want, depending on what tier they're in. And they get, when they come for consultation, we tell them what tier would be best for them. And that just works really well for a cash flow perspective. Like it's much better for the business, because the problems that we had before, which I've learned over the past 4 years, is because our treatments are quite expensive, people will pay in advance and then they don't pay you again, maybe not ever again, or they don't pay you for 9 months, 12 months. And it's not very good for a business. Do you know, it's not, you've got loads of money one month and then the next month you're poor, do you know, and it just doesn't work. So we brought in this recurring revenue because it's just much better for the client and for us.
Great. So the clients come in every month then on a regular basis. Yeah.
And that means as well, it fills the therapist diaries up. So nobody's just sat around doing nothing. There's no white space. And we're hoping that by next summer, it'll be well established then. So we won't have a repeat of the summer that we've just had, where we had like a real lull in visits. So because our clientele are mainly women between 30 and 45, a lot of those people have children. So come treating yourself, you can in the summer holidays. So it just goes really quiet in that time.
So what happens then to people if they don't make their monthly session?
Well, we don't make any money, and they go backwards in their progress that they've made, especially if they're doing anything to do with the skin and things like that. Like sometimes you need to keep like the upkeep, or you need to keep with the schedule of treatments. Okay,
so although they're paying but they're paying monthly, so they would have paid, weren't they? If they don't come in, instead of paid, weren't they? So do they catch up on that at some other?
Yeah, so because how we're doing the membership is, instead of them getting a set treatment, they get like an exclusive currency. So they get a set number of what we call seeds, because it fits in with our branding.
Yes.
And they spend the seeds on what they want, and they get to roll them over for 3 months if they can't come for any reason.
Yeah, good. So they don't lose out just because they've gone on holiday or something.
Yeah, they don't lose out.
Yeah.
And then if they do lose out on them because they've rolled over for too long, then we donate the profits to charity instead of taking it as like a business.
Very nice. Yeah, no, very nice. So you create that predictability within your own business with the recurring revenue, which helps you then with making efficiencies within the booking system as well, which is great. And how many staff are you up to now? Then you've got six clinic rooms.
Yeah, so I've got 5 staff at the minute, not including me. 4 of those are doing treatments, and 1 of them is a front of house. But I hope by the end of next year, we should probably have between 10 and 12 staff, I think. With the way the financial times has been like in the past year, I've probably not grown as fast as I wanted to, but I didn't want to take staff on when we weren't ready. I've tried to take it a bit slower because we had to do this massive thing of moving into this big clinic. I didn't want to go ridiculous and be like, massive clinic, big overheads, and then loads of staff, because you just don't know how it's going to go, do you? And I just needed to be a bit more professional about what I was doing and not get shiny object syndrome, which I think a lot of business owners get, and then employ all these staff and then be in a serious problem where you've not got enough clients to go around. So I'm just doing it a bit slower than I wanted to, really.
Very good. No, very sensible. How do you find your clients? You've got quite a clear target profile of client. How do you go about finding them?
So we mainly use Google Ads. So pay-per-click marketing has been the best thing all the way through. But we also see a lot of transgender people. We do a treatment called electrolysis where we remove hairs one by one, and it's 100% permanent. So we do a lot of beards for transgender people. Right. And through that, it's word of mouth mainly for that. Like, they recommend their friends. So that's a real good drip of referrals through that. But digital marketing is definitely the best for anything.
So we also have a
really good Instagram page, which at my front of house loves our Instagram. It's her life. And we get quite a lot of people through Instagram and Facebook as well.
Very good, very good. So that's an unexpected niche then that I certainly wouldn't have thought of from what you were saying at the beginning. Mainly women between 30 and 45, but the transgender audience as well.
Yeah, we do. We don't need to heavily market that because it sort of markets itself, and because I'm trying to step out of doing treatments a bit so I can focus more on business growth and marketing, there isn't as much. I've only got one other girl who does that treatment. So until we take somebody else on, we don't want to overpopulate her diary. Otherwise she'd need to be an octopus. There's that many people who need to be seen.
Very good. So what got you into this line of work in the first place? What made you decide to set up your own business doing laser treatment?
Do you know what? I don't really know. So basically, before I did this, I actually was a practice manager in a dentist. Okay. So that's what I did for years before. And while I was working there, I thought, you know what? I might train in eyelashes. So I did this little course and I trained in eyelashes and I hated it. And I was like, why did I do that? And then I thought, well, I'll train in something else in beauty. And then I ended up doing my level 2, you just standard qualification. And while I was there, they started talking about electrolysis and the hair removal, and started doing that. And I was like, quite like this. This is nice. And then I left it for a bit, carried on with work, and I just had my first child, and I thought, I can't work in this corporate job anymore. I was working for somebody. It was a great job, don't get me wrong. I loved it. It was amazing. But I was making them millions of pounds, but none of the millions of pounds were mine. And I was just like, I can't do this forever. So they then decided that they were retiring and they were selling it to a big corporate. And I was like, right, so this is my time to go now. I don't want to work for a corporate because I've worked for one in the past and it's just not the same. You become a payroll number and it's just not nice anymore. So I thought, I might open a business doing electrolysis. So I did. And I just literally used to do it 8 hours a week alongside my full-time job. And I did that for quite a while. And then COVID happened. I stayed at the practice management job for a bit longer than I was going to, just because they couldn't find a replacement. And it helped me out because my industry was ruined in COVID. And then once the second lockdown finished, I'd handed my notice in and I just went all in on this business then and just started growing it from 2021 basically was when I started running with it properly. Because in the early days, I only wanted to do it on my own. I didn't want staff. I didn't want what I've got now. But what I started to miss about my old role was the team. I missed having, some other women to talk to, and it was very lonely, like being on my own. I didn't like it because I'm just not that sort of person to be sat on my own all day.
Yep.
So yeah, I started employing, and then it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and now this is what I've come up with.
Okay, so you went from after lockdown, was that the point that you then got some premises?
Yeah, so I was working from a business centre, with just like other off. It was basically an office, and I turned it into like a clinical space. We put like a laminate floor down, decorated it so it looked like a salon, but from the outside, it was just a door. So
Mm.
it was great to start up because where I am on Salford Quays, I'm on Media City, so like where BBC and ITV and things like that are.
Okay.
And to attract people to the area, they've got like these business centres that are like startup centres. So it's cheap rent to start off with. There's no business rates, there's no bills. You just literally pay your rent. And I started off in there. The rent was so cheap. I was making loads of money. But then you don't realise, like, as you grow, the bills grow.
Yeah.
And now I've got a lot of bills. So I'd be making a lot more money if I was just on my own in the business centre.
So did you fund all of the development work for the new premises out of what you'd made before?
Yeah, so I started it on nothing. So I got a £2,000 startup loan from the
Okay.
government, and that was all I set it up with. So we did all this just I'd saved up a bit of money, but as we earned the money, we spent it on renovating in here. But we did the majority of it ourselves. So I've done a bit of plastering, I've laid a floor, I've done all sorts.
That's not good for the nails.
No, it's not. But my nail technician was not very happy with me. But you've got to do some things, haven't you?
Very good. Excellent. So yeah, so you're not afraid of getting your hands dirty and actually mucking in and doing some of that work.
I can't imagine how much it would have cost if we'd have paid like a builder to do it, though. Maybe £120,000 or something like that. It was a lot of work what we've done. It is,
Right.
but we just all clubbed together, even the staff, their husbands, everybody got
Right.
involved in
Excellent.
this building work, and we just did it all together. And we turned the building around in 5 weeks. So we literally like
Wow.
built it in 5 weeks. It was crazy. Like last year was an intense year, but it was so worth it because now I've got this massive place, and
Yeah.
everyone just comments on how nice it is, and it is good to have something that you've built yourself as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, definitely really good. And how did you handle your clients then in that 5 week period that you were essentially closed?
So, well, we stayed open. So the girl who had working for me, I only had one staff member at that point. She just carried on working. And while she was working, we were building. And then we only actually had one day where we shut.
Right.
We shut for that one day, moved all the stuff, and then just reopened in here the next day.
Amazing. So I can well see how you've built all of your practice management skills from working within
Yeah,
the dentist to
yeah,
to help you to coordinate and do all of those things. Yeah.
yeah. It was difficult, but we did it. Like
Oh,
I think that when you need something to happen, you can pull out all the stops, can't you, and just get it done.
yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
anything can be done if you put your mind to it. And we
Very good.
literally did it because I remember there was a time when it was empty in here and there was a big pile of plasterboard, and I'm sat on it next to my dad, and my dad's like, why have you done this? This is ridiculous. We're not going to be able to do it. We're not going to, I don't see how we're going to do it. And I was like, we're going to do it because we're going to do it because it has to be done because we can't close. So, and we did do it.
Excellent. Very good. So what would you do differently then if you look back on those 4 years with a bit of hindsight now? What would you do differently?
Have a bit more of a plan. I've sort of winged the whole time. I've winged it all. Just this is what I want to do, so this is what I'm going to do. Like it's not. I needed to have more of a plan, a bit more of a structure of when I was going to take on staff. Just financial planning as well. Like I've got an accountant and I've always had one, but I just never really understood what any of the numbers meant. So I was spending money wherever, but
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't have been. I just wish that I would have had a bit more of a strategy in the early days. Um, and I think it would have been better if it was like that. Like I've managed without the strategy and without the plan, but I think we could have executed everything a lot better if it was better planned.
Okay. And what sort of numbers do you keep an eye on? What are the key numbers that you track?
So I'm obsessed with numbers. So, because turnover is just a vanity thing, isn't it? Like it's just a massive vanity. You can turn over £1 million, but only have a profit of £1, can't you? So I mainly track the amount of leads we get in is a massive thing for us, like how and how many people convert from our leads. So we get a lot of traffic on the website and a lot of people inquire, but they don't necessarily come in for consultation. So tracking how many people convert from the consultation is really important from a staffing point of view to see like how well the staff are doing. Because if the staff aren't on board, then the business doesn't work because they need to make the sales. But we're really, I hate it when you go to somewhere and you feel like you've been sold to. So we try and make it so it's not like that, because at the end of the day, the people who are coming for these treatments, they do need the treatments. Like we're not selling anything that they don't need. So we do a lot of training and nurturing the staff around conversion of leads, because it's the most important thing. If there's no leads, there's no money. There's no money to pay wages. So leads is probably the biggest thing that I track. And then money wise, I track everything like every day. I look at zero every day.
Yeah.
I need to get a bit less obsessive with it. But I went through a period where I was spending a lot of money on just stuff, like subscriptions to things. And a lot of money got wasted like a few years ago. And now I'm a bit more mindful about like signing up to things and getting another subscription for another software. And so I do like to just look at my numbers regularly. I wouldn't say that we've made massive amounts of profit over the past few years, because when you're going through the growth stage, you just reinvest in everything, aren't you? I'd love to say that I've got a shiny Porsche outside, but I've not. But there's time for that in the future, isn't there? Like when everything's done and settled, then there will be profit. We still make a small profit like every year, but it's not like massive.
So do you know which of your key services are more profitable than others? What sort of things do you look at in that way?
Yeah, so laser hair removal is the most profitable thing that we do, but then it follows with a close second with electrolysis, because it's not profitable like per hour, but because they come for such a long time. So an electrolysis client is going to be coming for anywhere from 6 months to like 5 years. So when we spend £50 to get that one client, they stay a client for all that time, probably refer 2, 3, 4 people. So they make the most money really because they come for such a long time. But laser hair removal is like the quick hit, makes good profit every single time. But at the moment we're trying to change more to do more skin treatments. So it's a bit more of a spa-like experience, because we feel like our clients are just in and out. Like it's not as nice as it could be. I feel like if we did more skin stuff, we could spend more time with the clients and build up a better relationship like we do with the electrolysis clients. Laser just doesn't really give you that bit of the job. And it's a nice part of being a beauty therapist, is like building a relationship with your client.
So your lifetime value of the electrolysis clients are quite high because they stay for a long period of time.
Very, very high, yeah.
So some of us might be struggling to move people on from a one-off, maybe they come in for a bit of laser treatment, for example, or whatever industry we're in, and then we try and move them onto our membership model, if we've got one, can be quite a challenge to do. So how do you go about that? What sort of things have you learned of encouraging people to want to go on to your recurring revenue, your membership model?
So it was difficult for us because we were transitioning from clients buying 6 sessions at one time, and you get it at like a cheaper price because it's like a package, to then paying monthly. It is cheaper to pay monthly than to pay one. They don't have to have the big outlay of £1,000 or whatever, and then it is cheaper because it can be, because we know that they're going to be fixed into a contract. So we fix them in for 6 months. We only do 6 months because sometimes people only need to come for 6 months. And if we tried to sign people up for 12, I think it would put a lot of people off. Right. But yeah, being really open with the terms and conditions has been something that's really good. So making sure that front of house in particular, Heather, like really knows her stuff about it. So when she explains it, she just nails it from the first conversation. Whereas I'd say like newer members of staff trying to explain it, it gets a bit confusing, and then a confused customer never buys, do they? So then the client ends up confused, and then they don't want to buy. So making sure that it's well explained and the staff know exactly every single thing about it. And then we've also added like extra little perks in, like they get like a welcome pack that's got products in. Make sure we've got their addresses so that we can send them like little gifts throughout the year. They get like a special Christmas gift, and just make it so that they feel like it's really exclusive and special.
Yeah. Yeah, so you've made that really exclusive.
Lots of people want to do a subscription model, and I think it would work for most businesses. It's something not really done in beauty. Like, I don't really know anybody else who does it. A few people do it for single services, but I don't know anybody who does it for like their whole business. So you can buy any clinic, any treatment that you can buy for cash, you can put it on the membership. Because we also used to do it so that people could pay monthly. So it wasn't like a finance agreement. It was just like an agreement between us and them. But we found that it was just an admin nightmare. It was an admin nightmare, and it just drove me insane. Yeah. So this was a good alternative to it.
So essentially, as you said before, they're buying seeds that they can redeem at any time. So they're prepaying almost in a way, but on a regular basis, encouraged to come in and then use it. And you're making that feel like a really exclusive membership club by doing all of the other nice things that you're doing to really make them feel loved. Yep. Very good.
Yeah. So, and I'm hoping that at one point we'll make it so that we're membership only. I'm hoping we'll get to that place where it's completely exclusive and you can't pay cash at all, because at the moment, while we transition over, we've still got it so that you can pay per session if you wanted to. But most people, we signed up 20 people to it within the first 2 weeks. So that's pretty good, really. We're hoping for 100 by the end of the year. We'll see. I don't know. I'm being positive.
Very good.
But that, if we got 100 people on it, that would cover our overheads without even seeing anybody else. And that would be unreal then.
Right. So you're already, so you're looking at that break-even point that you know that, yes. And then at that point, you know, before the month has even started on the first of the month, you know that you've got all of your bills covered for that month, and then anything else is a bonus. Yeah.
Yeah. So then we will start to then see a profit, because it's just covered by the recurring revenue. Because that was always the issue in the business. Like, something that I've learned along the way is that it's just a roller coaster every month. One month it's amazing, next month it's a bit less, and it just causes a lot of stress for everyone. You know, when the staff aren't meeting the targets, morale goes down, I get stressed, and being a business owner is stressful enough without then stressing about money.
And excellent, really good advice. And what have you learned about taking on and managing a small team of people?
So, because I've managed teams for quite a long time, it it was quite easy, but I've got to say that because we're such a small team, one of the most difficult things is becoming too friendly with people, because it's difficult because we're just so close to each other all the time. We spend every hour, like 40 hours a week with each other. Luckily, something that I do is I really focus on the staff member's personality when I'm employing people. So I do take skills into consideration, but if you're not going to fit in the team, you could have all the qualifications in the world, but I don't want my team to be ruined. So I really, really pay attention to like how they fit in when they first start. And I do obviously give them a chance, but I've never employed anyone yet who hasn't fit in. And everyone says that they have like such a lovely time at work. And that's what I want. I want us to have a nice time. I don't want it to be toxic and people to be talking about each other, because that's how it is in this sort of women-centered world that we are. Women can be really nasty, and I don't want that in my workplace, because I don't want that for myself. Do you know? I don't want to have to deal with it. I don't want to have to deal with conflict that's stupid conflict, because where we've managed before in the past, I used to manage a team of 18, and they were predominantly women, and it can be really difficult when people have got problems with each other and they're arguing and cattiness. I just don't need it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I took that into account, and I just really, really make sure that the personality just gels with the rest of the team.
And how do you assess that before they've started? Is that just gut feel, or have you got other ways of doing it?
I do take gut feel into it a lot of the time. I think that I've got quite a good radar for it. You know, you sort of know when you meet someone, don't you, like what they're going to be like. And just where I do like quite a few interviews, I don't tend to just do one. I like to talk to them on the phone first, and then if I like them, get them in for an interview and make sure that the rest of the team are here when they come, so that I can sort of see what everybody thinks, do you know? And it's not really the conventional way of doing it, but I don't want to have to get rid of people. So it's just better for it to just be right from the word go, isn't it? Like, so you get skills can be learned.
Great. So you get the team to input into that decision before they start.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. I think that's something that's often missed by a lot of people. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Excellent. So what do you love most about what you do?
I really do like managing the team. I think that's my favourite part. I think having a good team is my favourite part about it. I do like the fact that our treatments are like life-changing and we like really helping people. But I just quite like the hustle and bustle of just being an entrepreneur. I just quite like that. Yeah. You know, although it's very, very stressful, I just like doing it. I like the stress, and I work good in like a high stress environment. And when there's things that have to be done for a certain time, it's just great. That's my favourite bit.
Brilliant. And if you had a magic wand, what would you change?
I'd get some serious investment so I could just get done what I want to do.
Okay. Yeah. To accelerate that growth.
Yeah, because how slow things are, it really annoys me. I just want it to be finished, and just money just makes the world go round, doesn't it? Like everything is just expensive, and you can't have that because it's too expensive. I wish that wasn't a thing, and I could just have exactly what I wanted and have all the money to do it.
Yeah, good. All right. So what is the legacy you want to leave? If we're having this conversation, let's just say in 5 years' time, where do you want to be? What does good look like in 5 years' time for you?
So the plan is that I'm going to franchise.
Okay.
That's my dream. So what I really want to do is I want to help women under 30 achieve a business. I just think that it's been so difficult for me, like over the past 4 years, like getting loans, getting any sort of finance, finding an investor, just anything to do with it has been difficult. And it sounds quite cliche, but it's definitely more difficult as a woman. And people underestimate me all the time, and they just think, oh, well, she don't know what she's talking about, sort of thing. And I want to help other women who feel like that achieve what I've achieved. So I want to do it through franchise. So I've got this proven business model that definitely works. And if I could help, like, just recruit not certain people, but like market it towards women under 30 who want to set up their own business, who were like me, where you might be in a corporate job that you hate, or you've got small children and corporate life just doesn't fit around it. You could have your own business for a relatively small investment, really, because you don't have to have what I've got here, this huge thing, because I was working pretty well just on my own, or just with one staff member like I was in the early days. And I just think that other people could do it, and they wouldn't have to have all the suffering that I've had, like you, because I've learned it all along the way, so I can give good advice about what the best thing to do is.
Very good. It's an excellent route to go. You've got as you say, you've got an established business model that can be replicated. And you can keep the quality high with the training that you're offering and all of those things as well. Yeah. So how far have you got down that route?
So I spoke to a franchise consultant about 2 years ago, and he basically told me what I needed to do to be able to make it become a franchise. So I've been working on that for the past 2 years, but I think I need another 12 months of completing this, because as well as the downstairs that's a clinic, when I took the building on, I made sure I had enough space so that when I was ready for franchise, it could also be like my headquarters. So upstairs, I've got like a massive training space and all this extra room ready for when the day comes that I'm ready. So I think in 12 months' time, I think I'll be ready then. Maybe a little bit before, but I just want to make sure that I've got the solid foundations here, and that I am not working in clinic at all with clients by the time it's ready. Because something that consultant did say to me is that it will take up like quite a lot of my time in the very early days anyway. And I don't want to go into that bit like I did this business, where I was a bit half in, half out. I'm either all in or not at all. Because again, I don't want to make the mistakes that I made in this company in the franchise. I want to make sure that it's got my full attention. And at the minute, I'm still in the weeds. I'm still looking for receipts in the bottom of my handbag. I don't want it to be like that when I get to that stage.
Very good. Well, very ambitious. You're planning well ahead. So in 5 years' time, then you'll have that network of 10, 20 franchisees, do you think? Is that what you're aiming for?
Yeah, I think so. Originally I wanted it to just be around the north, but the more I've thought about it, maybe it needs to be a bit bigger. But I do think that it will, because of the way the industry is growing, like I think that it will be a very easy, not easy, but you know what I mean? It'll be a very attractive model for people to buy into. There is a couple of franchises already established, but they're like huge brands, like global franchises. And I think that if I go down the line of really niching on who it's for, I think it will be a success, because I don't want a big corporate to buy it. That's not what I want. I want it to be so that somebody can feel like they've got their own business. Well, they have, but it's theirs and they make profit, and they don't have to report it to someone in Dubai who actually runs I want them to know that they can speak to me, so keep it as a small business, but it's a bit bigger.
Very good. Excellent. Love the sound of that. So really ambitious. Love what you're doing, and wish you all the success with it. And thank you for sharing some of your lessons along the way. Are you all right for a couple of minutes, a couple of quick fire questions before we close?
Yeah, sure.
So if you could go back to your younger self, what advice would you give yourself?
Save money and don't spend it all.
All right. Good. Are there any learning resources, books, podcasts, or anything else that that you found particularly useful that you'd like to suggest to other entrepreneurs?
Profit First is the best book in the world.
By Mike McCallum.
So I actually saw him speak live a couple of weeks ago, and it was the best thing that I've ever watched. That if you set that up from the day you open your business, you'd just be profitable from the word go. I wish I would have done that earlier on. That's definitely the best book that I've ever read. And also Atomic Habits by James Clear is also very good.
Yeah, two great books. Yeah, excellent. Very good. Are there any apps or bits of software that you find particularly useful?
I love a bit of software, but I've calmed down on the amounts of software that I have because I'm spending far too much money on software. Getting a good CRM is definitely just the best thing for business. The one I'm using at the minute is called Genie AI, which is by a company called Entrepreneurship. Very good. It's a bit like HubSpot, but HubSpot's a bit expensive. Can't go there yet. But yeah, software is my favourite. But then the best app for just trying to keep yourself cool is definitely the Calm app, with the sleep stories. That's the best. So I'm not a very calm person. I'm always whizzing around, but I do love to listen to that in the evening to relax.
Brilliant. And who's had the most influence on you, would you say, as a business leader?
I think my previous bosses at the dentist I worked at, they just ran this amazing business that they'd got to the point that they could trust me to run it for them. And they were still working in it until the day that they retired, and they're still working there now after acquisition. But they were just very good at just being a nice boss, making a workplace that you want to work in rather than feeling like you're just going to work to pay your bills. It was just such a lovely place to work, and they're inspirational. And now they've retired and they've made a lot of money. So hopefully that'll be me one day.
Absolutely, here. And your most successful marketing and lead generation tactics, you've already mentioned a couple. You mentioned Google Ads, and also the word of mouth referral with the transgender community. They're your two key.
Yeah, Google Ads is the best, but I've got to say, you've got to get an agency to do it unless you really want to put the hours into learning how to do it. I've tried doing it myself. I've tried a few agencies, but definitely if you find the right agency who is really on the ball with what you're trying to achieve, it works wonders. It costs a lot of money, but you've got to put the money in to get the money out, haven't you? And I think a lot of the time in small business, people are too scared to invest money in marketing. And when they're having a bad month and they've not made any money, the first thing they start turning off or cutting is the marketing budget. But you're never going to grow if you don't keep spending. And as long as you've proved it works, because I tend to do Google Ads and then I test something else at the same time. So like 1 month I'll do Facebook ads, the next month I might do a leaflet drop or something. So I do like an all-round marketing approach rather than just concentrating on just one all the time, because you never know what's going to work the next month. A lot of people work from home now, so I've found that leafleting does actually work, even though it's quite old-fashioned.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Well, it's been absolutely fascinating talking with you, Lucie, and I wish you all the best with your continued plans and your franchising. If people would like to get hold of you or find out more about Cypress Quay, what's the best way for them to do that, Lucie?
If you just go on our website, which is cypressquay.com, you can get all our details on there about our treatments and about us.
Super. So, Lucie, thank you very much indeed for being my guest on ScaleUp Radio today.
Thank you very much.
I hope you enjoyed that discussion. And if you're building and scaling your own business, you might well be interested in our book, The Entrepreneurial Scale-Up System. And it's exactly what it says on the tin. It's a practical handbook around scaling a business in a structured way. And you can order a copy on all your favorite online retailers, including an audio version, or you can find it and other supporting resources on our website, www.esusgroup.co.uk. That's esusgroup.co.uk, which is esusgroup.co.uk.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.